Speaker for today, which is Steph and Amand.
Hello, beautiful family.
Hello, Steph.
Oh, what a joy it is to have so many people in my family. Zoomers, hello. Literally someone in my family, and my mom's watching on Zoom today. Let's bring my mom to work day. Oh, I love this talk. I'm so excited to do this talk. You know, I had been getting up here and saying, oh, I threw the notes out. I didn't throw the notes out. I kept them. I added significantly and did delete some stuff, but this is my jam right here. Where comfort ends, transformation begins. That's what my talk title is today. I can just talk about this forever. Where comfort ends, transformation begins. I am the evidence of this. And where comfort ends, are we ever really comfortable? That's really my question. I suffered from chronic anxiety disorder growing up, and so I've never been comfortable. I'm not comfortable right now. My heart's racing because I want to do good. I want to do good for you. I've been called to do this work, and I want to do good for you. So my heart races every single time I get to do this work. Every single time. And so for me, being uncomfortable is just normal. And that's okay. I'd rather be uncomfortable and growing than comfortable in the mud and the muck and the mire. I'd rather be uncomfortable and get myself unstuck than being comfortable and living back there in the past. And I know the transformation is always beginning, right? We're in a whole year of grand rising, so transformation begins every moment. Every morning we wake up and we open our eyes and take a breath. Are we thinking, oh, I get a whole day today to breathe and live and have my being. I get to be uncomfortable today. What a joy it is to get uncomfortable. I was thinking about this thought. Am I brave enough to be uncomfortable? Am I brave enough to make others uncomfortable? One of my teachers, Dr. Ken Gordon, he said, it's your job as a minister to make people uncomfortable. I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do about that. I have yet to have anyone come up to me and say, you've made me uncomfortable. But what I have heard is, wow, my life has been transformed by this teaching. And my life has been transformed by this teaching. So, where comfort ends, where comfort ends, it's just outside of fear. Fear is the thing that makes us uncomfortable. If we are uncomfortable, we're afraid of something. If we are feeling afraid, it means that we have a belief that we are separate from the divine power and presence that is supporting our lives. If we are living in fear, it means that we are not facing love. So Ernest Holmes, he said in this brilliant book he wrote in 1926 called The Science of Mind. Anyone here heard of that book? No. A little bit. He wrote on page 486, nothing can keep us from the love of God. What a comfort. What joy to know that all is well with the soul. What if we woke up every morning and just thought, our first thought, if we could train our minds to just think, nothing can keep me from the love of God. I can never disappoint the divine. I could never disappoint this infinite power and presence. It has no feeling body to be disappointed in. What a comfort. What a comfort it is to know that there is one power, one presence, one divine, infinite, intelligent mind expressing as me. My soul, all is well with my soul. If we could wake up every day and just turn into that, All is well with my soul. All is well with my soul. Transformation begins now. Transformation begins now. I was thinking about, as I was reading this talk and contemplating on this talk this week, I thought about how often I discuss the chrysalis of a butterfly. And there's a whole process of being a butterfly. And first, you have to be a caterpillar. So I want everybody to recognize that we are simply in the nature of the divine. We are caterpillars. But first, we were an egg. And there's this magical thing that happens that creates life. And we think that we're the ones creating it. We're not creating life. Life is already a power. It is already present. It is already here now. And it has a natural expression of living. It has a natural expression of living. And so I was thinking about this caterpillar. And so I wanted to learn, how long does a butterfly live? Because it goes through a lot of transformation. A caterpillar has 5 different stages before reaching its chrysalis. And each stage, it changes, it transforms its entire body in 5 different stages before it even gets to the chrysalis. And each of those compartments or transformations are called instar. I want to think deeply about being in star. Because we're stardust and water and eons of time. So to be in the star means that we are in transformation. And this life of a caterpillar, it transforms multiple times so that it can get to the place where it can become what it is called to be. And each time it is literally shifting its physicality, it's shifting its body, it's transforming its inwards expression to become something that it is unaware of. It just has a natural call to do it, to be it, to become. And so this little caterpillar's life, moving along, transform, until finally it finds the right and perfect place, weaves a little piece of silk, and begins to crust and create a shell of its old self. And inside that chrysalis, it is transforming everything about itself. It is melting itself to become something it is yet to even be aware of. It doesn't know it's going to be a butterfly. It thinks it's mucus formed in a crust and eating itself. It takes every piece of itself and becomes mush. And then uses its own stuff to become something new, something beautiful. Inside that chrysalis is the making of a monarch, a beautiful butterfly. And it has to transform itself. And even still, there's still mess when the chrysalis cracks. There's still more to be done when that chrysalis opens up at the top and it forces itself out of this hard shell, dripping in its own goo. Butterfly can't fly the moment it's out of the chrysalis. There's more to do. It has to hang upside down, shake its wings free, and make air move through its wings so that they can solidify the ability to fly. And then it spreads its wings, and these beautiful, beautiful, individualized and unique specks on its wings and flies. A butterfly's life is 40 days. 40 days. It does all of that to be a butterfly for 40 days. And I'm uncomfortable talking to strangers. I'm uncomfortable asking for help. It's amazing. It's amazing the nature that is within each and every one of us, the nature of our divinity. Because right here, right now, what stage you're in of transformation, you're exactly where you need to be. You are the nature of divinity. So what instar are you in? Are you pushing through the fear? Are you pushing through the resistance of becoming your greatest self? Turning pages like I'm reading these notes. I haven't even read these notes. We have so much power in us, so much power. Ernest Holmes said, "Fear brings limitation and lack in its wake and destroys the happiness and possibility of a greater degree of livingness to those who suffer from it. Fear blocks the more complete givingness of the spirit to its highest form of manifestation on the planet, which is humankind." You know what's amazing about nature? The lifespan of the butterfly? It's already encoded in them. It's already in them to become that beautiful thing that gardeners pray, enter into their space and do whatever they can to plant more trees, more flowers, plant some honeysuckle, bring the bees, bring the butterflies to our yards. And we have that in our DNA. We have that in our essence. We have that in our physical evidence that there is only one. No one else has my fingerprints. No one else has Wes's fingerprints. Nobody else has Phyllis's fingerprints. There's only one. And that nature of the butterfly, that nature of the acorn, you know the acorn? Same story. Same story. The entire oak tree is in the acorn. The entirety of the 400-year oak that is planted was in the acorn first. Did you know the ponderosa pine? If you have the blessings of hugging a 100-year-old ponderosa pine, it means the devastation happened 150 years ago. Because the way the seed opens on a ponderosa pine seed is through fire. Fire. We are forged. We are the same thing as butterflies, as puppy dogs, as acorns, as ponderosa pine. We have that in us. And yet we have this thing that is the divine manifestation of a spirit that is intelligent presence. We have free will. God. We have choices. We can choose how our butterfly wings are going to look. We're going to choose if we're going to transform or if we're going to stay the same. We get to choose if we're going to wake up. We get to choose all of that stuff. So, we can stay in the chrysalis all we want. If we love being comfortable, we can stay in the chrysalis. It might be nice and cozy in there. But are we being comfortable, or are we just in familiarity? Because like I said, are we ever really comfortable? Comfort to me is a nice lazy boy on a Sunday afternoon and TV on, binge watching Netflix, right? There's some comfort in that. Am I growing? There's no comfort in transformation. There's no comfort in transformation. It pulls us through cheesecloth. And it allows us to become the highest expression of who we are called to be, who we are to be. And so the caterpillar has no choice. It's going to become a butterfly or it's not. Because some stay in the chrysalis, some aren't strong enough to break free from its limitation. We get to be strong enough if we choose to be. Are we strong enough? Are we strong enough to break free of our limitation and our belief on limitation? Thomas Stroller, he said in the Edinburgh Lectures, belief in limitation is the one only thing that causes limitation. Because we thus impress limitation upon the creative principle, and in proportion as we lay that belief aside, our boundaries will expand, and increasing life and more abundant blessing will be ours. We can break free. We can break free of all of our limitation. We can break free of all of our limiting beliefs. We can break free of the constructs that other people will have on us when we have the courage to be uncomfortable and to make other people uncomfortable. I'm getting back to that place. Making other people uncomfortable. You know? For some of us on the planet, even our presence makes people uncomfortable. I once had a hairdresser tell me, this is why I've been cutting my own hair for 25 years. I sat in a chair. I didn't have long hair. I had like shoulder length maybe hair. And I said, I'd like a buzz cut. I want it all gone. And she said, no. Girls don't have short hair. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Right? We have the ability to make people uncomfortable without even trying. And we give so much weight to other people's thoughts, other people's opinions of us. And I just want to help each and every one of us today to just set that down. What other people think of you is none of your business. And so the joy for me is being exactly who I'm called to be, being authentic in our real life soul. The soul that is called uniquely in this body, uniquely in this consciousness, uniquely in this presence. It might make people uncomfortable. Oh well. I've done my work. I've been in the chrysalis. It took a lot for me to be able to just show my face in some places because of what that meant in making someone else uncomfortable. But you know what? Right here, Ernest said, nothing can keep us from the love of God. Nothing. And so the love of God is loving ourselves first. We get to do that. And to become more comfortable with ourselves, there's so many things that we get to do that are uncomfortable. Getting out of our conditioning, getting out of our limiting beliefs, getting out of our boundaries, the borders that we put in between one another. So under overcoming limitation, we get to do that. And Brene Brown, she said, you can choose courage or you can choose comfort. You can't have both. You can live in fear or you can live in love, but I guarantee that you aren't doing both simultaneously. And God is love. God is love. See, I just paused there because I said God. Some people, when I say the word God, get uncomfortable. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, it's amazing. So overcoming boundaries, overcoming our limiting beliefs, we have that power within us to do that. We get to explore ourselves, discover more about ourselves, find out what makes us uncomfortable and lean into it. Find out the things that are scratching the surface of something that wants to be healed in you. And instead of turning away, turn towards and feel it. Why am I being poked by this? Why am I being scratched by this? Why is this making me uncomfortable? That's how we transform. By leaning in, facing in, turning towards. Because I tell you, the divine power and presence that is inside of you right now is resilient. It is tenacious. It wants to be made known through you as a unique and unrepeatable expression of divinity. You are, everything that you need to be, and everything to get comfortable with who you are is already inside of you. In fact, there's no other place it could be for it to happen. It is inside of you. The comfort that you're looking for comes first from your own thinking, your own mind, remembering. And I know all of us are over a certain age, so it's safe to say this. You know? We have decades of information, decades of experience, decades of opportunities that we have selected to move through or set aside. And all of that experience is evidence enough to show you, to tell you, to know for yourself that you are resilient, adaptable, flexible. There's been times in your life, I know, where you have surrendered. How do I know? Because there's only one. And I have surrendered. There's been times in my life I have surrendered. And now is our time to get out of the chrysalis, shake off all of the stuff, shake off all the mess, shake off all the yesterdays, all the preceding moments, all the high expectations placed on us by others, all the boundaries that we keep putting our toe over. We can draw a line in and say no more. Today is a beautiful, perfect day to be audacious in your faith, audacious in your power, audacious in the presence of who you are. You are unique and unrepeatable expression. I just think about all of that work the caterpillar does. And we are no different. We have worked on ourselves for decades. We have incorporated the good. We've learned how to set aside that which no longer serves us. And every day we get to remember that we know how to do that. And so in that comfort, we get to remember that we are the divine. I'm going to leave us with one of my favorite stories. I didn't even do that talk. I'm going to leave us with one of my favorite stories. It's about Krishna. Krishna was a young boy, and he was playing ball next to this river. And in the river was this 5-headed monster. And so they were trying to stay away from the river. Like, they're young children, they're playing ball. And one of his friends throws it over his head, and it lands in the river. And so they got concerned. They were like, oh my goodness, how do we get this ball back? And Krishna's like, okay, I'm going to get the ball. I'm going to get the ball. And so he dives into the river, and he starts swimming towards the ball, and just then, this 5-headed monster grabs hold of his foot and starts dragging him under the water. And Krishna starts to struggle, and he can't get up. He's like trying to get up, and he can't get up. The monster is just dragging him under, and his friends are all coming to the edge of the river, and they stand at the edge of the river, and they say, Krishna, Krishna, remember, you're a god. And Krishna remembered who he was. He broke free from the monster, grabbed the ball, swam to the edge of the river, and climbed on to the shore, defeating the monster. Remember who you are, and remember that on the sidelines of your life, you have this beautiful community telling you, remember, you are God. Thanks so much for listening.